Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. A watershed moment for crypto. Ripple joins the Senate Crypto Roundtable. You're going to love it. Ripple began tokenizing $600 trillion market. You're going to love that too. And today's the day for what? We'll tell you. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Look at this. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Look, $4.22 trillion market cap for crypto. Market's up 2.6. We got lots of good news today. Bitcoin 117,700 plus, 4,600 plus for Ethereum. XRP's 313. We're up 3.5 on the 24 and 4.1 on the 7-day. Range of price between $3 and $313. We are at the top side of that range, and I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Caleb and Brown, you haven't checked them out. Listen, don't listen to the people out here trying to lie on Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is phenomenal, okay? And they try to conflate all of these things about whether there's segregated assets or bankruptcy remote. These people are trying to talk over your heads, and it's not even worth listening to. I tell you right now that you need to know that Caleb and Brown has institutional grade custody. And it's absolutely amazing. And guess what? They don't even charge you for it. It's free. Yes. And guess what else? The personal touch customer service is 24/7, 365. And I'm going to tell you right now, until you experience it, you won't know how amazing it is. But that's why we've set it up so you can go get a free account. XRPwealth589.com and go open your free account today and start experiencing some of the best service you've ever had in your life and start getting the peace of mind that you deserve. Right there, XRPwealth589.com. Look at this. The Federal Reserve cut rates yesterday by quarter of a point, 25 basis points. And we see here that they signal another 50 basis points more in cuts coming before the end of the year. So we should look for that in October, November, or in December even. So we'll see how this goes. But they're also anticipating, Goldman Sachs has, two more cuts in early 26 as well. So we'll see how that goes here. Remember, the Fed is currently being shut out of the new digital on-chain economy, and I love it. Here we see Ripple President Monica Long has confirmed her participation in the Senate Banking Committee roundtable on crypto market structure legislation. Oh, we love this from Monica and Ripple. Shout out to the president of Ripple. And here we see $17 trillion is pouring into the United States for investment purposes. The golden age has begun. And make no mistake about it, it is AI and crypto blockchain that is the golden age, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen to this clip here.
We'll have more than $17 trillion invested in our country this year. 17 trillion, which is many, many times what we had last year. And we're only in our just about almost ninth month. It's moving along quickly. It's amazing. I was saying we're in our third month, our fourth month, our fifth month, but we're at, it's going to be over $17 trillion. No country has ever had anything like that, even close. We'll have more than...
It's unbelievable the amount of money that's about to pour into this space, and it's all going towards this new golden age, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution, and we're smack dab in the middle of it. You know, this was a part of the UK and the US sitting down to announce closer cooperation on crypto regulations. We are allies, and we are the G20, we're the G10. I mean, it's big. This is where this is going. Remember, the UK is a giant financial hub for the world. They do a lot of clearing and settlement, ladies and gentlemen. And it was Cassie Craddock who was there from Ripple in those conversations. And that is absolutely remarkable. We are in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. And today is the day. Oh, do we love seeing this? Yeah. Rex Osprey will debut the first U.S. spot XRP ETF, while CME adds XRP futures options on October 13th. Today is the day that the first XRP spot ETF launches. And how's it going? Well, Chad Steingraber tells us it's going fantastic. The Rex Osprey Spot ETF opens at $25.82. And I say, hey, let's go ahead and get that XRP price up around the same neighborhood. Yeah. How fun would that be? I think we're getting there. I don't see, look, this is all going the right way. It's just not going fast enough, right? I mean, I think we all feel that way. But you know what? Patience is really one of the strongest suits of every person in the XRP family. And I just remind everybody that we all know that the Holy Grail is to be able to delegate your assets without ever having to sell them. And I would just say be very cautious at what you do, because knowing that patience has been one of our strongest characteristics and principles that we've had as a community, I think now more than ever calls for us to be just a little more patient and let these markets roll out a little bit. Let them mature just a little longer. Let's get the legislation and the banking license and the Federal Reserve master account and all the ETFs and everything we need. Let's get those things and let's start seeing what banks start offering these potential crypto services for us to put our XRP somewhere that is extremely safe and very, very secure, because we know it has a trusted name, right? So all of these opportunities, I believe, are coming. So, I'm excited about the new and upcoming ideas, and I'm also excited about the legacy financial institutions coming into this space and offering these new opportunities as well. And that, the trusted name with the new innovation, is going to be a place I'm going to be looking to be. Loving all of this jumping off for us. And then this here, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission has approved Grayscale investment application to list its Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund as an exchange traded product, an ETP, ladies and gentlemen. And here this is right here. It says the Grayscale team is working expeditiously to bring the first multi-crypto asset ETP to market with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. How about that? And here's what the basket looks like here. And you can see the weight, 5.62 weight on XRP. And I think that percentage only goes up over time in that basket as we see more adoption take place in the market. The US SEC, by the way, has approved generic listing standards, making it easier for exchanges to launch spot crypto ETFs without lengthy approvals, which we've been experiencing up until now. So we could see a wave of ETF approvals, spot ETF approvals, and others, futures as well, for XRP in the next several weeks. So head on a swivel out here. Hunter Horsley, CEO of Bitwise, says it's a watershed moment, and I am inclined to agree with him. More crypto ETFs are coming. And what's happening here is the SEC's approved a new formal, clear criteria for which crypto assets they will allow US ETFs for. This is not only means more ETFs, but it also means that those that qualify will not need to go through the historical 240-day 19B-4 process. Headwinds are becoming tailwinds in 2025. I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is so bullish. I am so excited. Think of it. We have almost 20 ETFs waiting for XRP in the gate right now. If they do this and add this sweeping process to the ones that are waiting right now, we're about to see an enormous wave of ETF approvals, and it's going to begin to draw the liquidity off the market. Think of it for a moment. Matter of fact, I think I just saw something. I did. Here it is right here. Shout out to Michael Branch. Give him a follow. This is Julio Marino, head of research at Crypto Quant, estimates that between 1 and 4% of XRP circulating supply could be absorbed by ETFs in the first year, equivalent to 600 million to 2.4 billion XRP tokens, or 1.8 to 7.2 billion at current prices being sucked off the market to be put in qualified custodians to back these ETFs in the first year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what the Shane Ellis theory in motion looks like. That's what we're talking about here. So this is super exciting to me, but there's other things happening too. Like Ripple confirms over 600 trillion in real estate is one of the world's most valuable asset classes to be tokenized. And you know what? They're not only talking about it, they're doing it in conjunction with Dubai Land Department. Ripple announced strategic partnership with Dubai Land Department to begin tokenizing real estate on the XRP ledger, from title deeds, ownership records, peer-to-peer transfer. That's what's coming. Dubai has a $700 billion market out of the 600 trillion that's available to tokenize. That's what we're looking at here. Ripple is absolutely rolling out for the new digital on-chain economy. That's what's taking place here. And if you've not seen the first video from this morning with the breaking announcement that Ripple, DBS, Franklin Templeton have all come together to create a repo finance market tokenized on the XRP ledger for the back end of the financial system. By the way, who covers the spread on the back end of the repo market? The Federal Reserve does. Who's currently waiting for a bank charter license and a Federal Reserve master account? Ripple. So why does Brad keep calling Ripple Federal Reserve 2.0? Well, now you know. Now you know. And this was a great conversation, ladies and gentlemen. It went down yesterday. It was the GOAT, digital asset investor, and it was the Black Swan capitalist brothers, Vandal and Verson, who are absolutely brilliant. I love what they're doing out here, and it was an honor to sit down with them, and I appreciate the kind words that they've had for us. And I just think they're rising stars with so many others out here, and they are someone to watch as they go forward. I tell you this, but we had a really, really great conversation. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this clip and I'm going to let it play where we talk about stable coins and about how I first heard about stable coins launched on the ledger right before Ripple Swell 2019. And I had great conversations listening to David Schwartz talk about the ideas of stable coins and whether they were on the ledger or not. And this was what came of the conversation. And I absolutely love this. It stayed with me to this day. Let me back this up here to right here. And shout out to these gentlemen for having us.
When we got to go to Singapore in 2019 to the Ripple Swell event, I had a chance to sit down and listen to David Schwartz talking, and we had conversations over the course of a day and a half or 2 days, whatever it was, we were there. And that October, right before that swell, they had just announced you could launch stable coins on the XRP ledger. So it was really all the talk, right? So that was really like the focus of the conversations I was looking to have with David to understand that better. And through those conversations, and there's other people sitting around too. He didn't, this is an open conversation. There's nothing being said that was not anything he wouldn't say or hasn't already said publicly, right? Mm-hmm. But it was just being in the room and understanding the take of the conversation itself, right? And it was simply this, the discussion of stable coins up until that point in 2019 were all back one-to-one, whether it was the MakerDAO, right, or whether it was something else. It's all one-to-one. And anything that ever lost its peg because it was one-to-one and it didn't hold the peg. Whatever it was pegged to slipped, and then that slipped, right? So the conversation was, what if you could have a stable coin that could have reserves from every different part of the sector of the economy, right? Whether it's tokenized real estate, whether it's gold, oil, silver, platinum, palladium, soft commodities, wheat, soy, corn, right? I mean, everything. And a piece of reserve of all of that goes into a reserve, and there's your informed price that backs XRP and a stable coin to it. So now you have the ultimate stable coin.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly. The ultimate
because you have a combination of these assets. Right. And if you have a combination, I had this talk with Greg Kidd too, just not long ago, months ago. And essentially, if you could derive reserves from every sector of the economy, the only way to crash the price of that token, which would be XRP, by the way, is to end the world as you know it. That's how drastic it would have to be.
Brad, are you talking about? You're talking about our soybeans, our gold. Is that kind of what?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And all of those reserves go into a kitty to inform the price. In fact, to like not all stable coins are created equal. Let's just build that to where you're getting ready to take us, Rasan, which is I believe the extraction of money, the expansion of money, the expansion of money right now that's happening is something that does happen. We had an expansion of money before the Federal Reserve System was put in place, and then we had a contraction of money. Now we have this new asset coming into class, just like DAI said earlier. Now you have the expansion of money moving out again, right? And everything's competing to be money. And now you have an opportunity, because now that you have this private issuance of stable coins soaking up these bonds, you can relieve the
There you go.
petrodollar agreement. You can have these bond issuers hold more bonds than the petrodollar agreement around all the countries did together. And we know that because Tether held more bonds than Germany did. So you get just a few more of those, and you got more bonds soaked up by private issuers of stable coins than the G20 nations combined, right?
Right.
But that's temporary, because at some point you get all of those stable coins issuance and enough liquidity onto the XRP ledger. You can then take the reserves that I just told you about, underpin XRP, and guess what underpins the US dollar then? It's XRP. So
Yes.
stablecoin issuance and the bond issuance, to me, is to only serve for a period of time to soak up those hyperinflated bonds while we make this transition and get the liquidity onto the new system. And when it's on the ledger, then you can get these reserves underpinning XRP, and that will be what underpins the dollar for the next 150 years at my house.
There you have it right there, ladies and gentlemen. If there's one thing you could say is that I sure enough got my route picked out. Now, whether that's right or not is another matter. Just like we don't know if this is going to run to $50, but you know what? Sistine Research says that it could. I just glad that I'm here for it. And I do believe in some shape or form of what we just talked about through this video is taking shape. It is coming to fruition. It is being realized. How much of it will be realized is what the question is. This is not a if. This is a how big is what this is. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.